Welcome to the show, everybody. Michael with CoronavirusDiaries, and today I'm fortunate enough to reconnect with Corey Benson, the owner of Curbside Productions. Corey, how you doing?
Doing well. It's an interesting Tuesday.
Indeed. Thanks for jumping on the show again. I really appreciate it. I'm curious. So, since the last time we talked, it's been probably close to 2 weeks now. A lot of stuff has kind of changed in Minnesota, and a lot of stuff hasn't. So, I'm curious in terms of the production industry, kind of curbside productions, and your space and the work that you have been up to. What's new? What's going on?
We're actually starting to get a little bit of movement in the industry. We have a couple of clients that have reached out to us about potentially doing some either on their location or on our location shooting. We have a couple of video editing projects that are potentially coming down the turnpike. If those happen, that'll be useful. One of our larger clients has started doing a video competition, and one of our partners here wrote an ingestion process for that, and so we've had a little bit of income that way. Lo and behold, after 3.5 weeks of waiting, we got notified that our application had been received and was finally being processed for the PPP loan from the SBA. That was a week and a half ago.
Well, at least congratulations for at least getting some sort of a response. I mean, I can only imagine what it's been like just hanging on a thread, just waiting to hear something. What exactly is this, the PPP? And for viewers, listeners that may not be familiar, what is it, and how can it help you?
It's a program put together by the SBA, and in the multi-trillion-dollar package that the federal government passed. Going on 6 weeks ago now, 8 weeks ago now. The idea is you use it to continue business and continue paying wages and continue paying mortgages, rents, all of the ongoing costs that businesses have, no matter what's going on in the world. Like our costs, on a monthly basis, were $4,500 a month just to have the doors. Not even to open them, just to have the doors.
The overhead for your space.
Right, and that doesn't include insurance. That doesn't include wages. That's literally just to pay rent.
Yeah.
So this is an SBA loan program that's designed so that you can pay for those loans and those mortgages, rents, etc. But it's also designed so that you can pay wages to your employees who aren't necessarily working. So if you're paying W-2 employees for any facet of your business, then you can continue to pay them wages. And most of these loans are going to be forgivable, so you won't have to pay them back. If you do have to pay them back, they'll be at a low interest, between 2% and 3% to get paid back. And if you take the larger loans, you can take up to 30 years to pay them back. So it's a very incredible program. And if they start dispersing money to the actual small businesses, as opposed to the LA Lakers and Howard Johnson hotels and things like that, that would help. That's why they're going after a second round. But it was depleted very quickly. It took about two weeks for them to burn through the small business portion of it. I don't know what that means for me. They finally notified us 4 weeks after they had depleted all the loans that we were actually being looked at to potentially receive one.
Curious,
we'll see what happens.
Curious how they determined the amount that you received. Is that outlined, and is it very clear to you or is there like a range? Is it based on your last year's your taxable income? How does that work?
The last few years, we had to jump through quite a few hoops in order to apply. We had to talk about, what we paid out in wages, what our expenses were, and then go through and show them what our net receipts were and gross and net income was for the previous almost 3 years.
Okay. So you're feeling pretty good about it?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think
you're not getting your hopes up. I mean, maybe that might be some good advice.
If the money comes in, we'll spend it. There are definitely people who are normally on our payroll that I would love to put some money in their pockets. I'd love to have a little bit of help. Like I think I said the last time, we got a little bit of assistance from one of our big clients, and we're good through the end of August as far as income is concerned, and being able to cover the basics. But I'd love to start being able to put some money back in the pockets of our guys who are just, and gals, who are just absolutely crushed right now. So
you had mentioned, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? You're looking out. So wishing you the best of luck with that. But in regards to what sounds to be a positive aspect of events that have taken place in the last couple of weeks, you had said that there was some cash coming in from an alternative. So like, it sounded like it was something that you may not necessarily do regularly, or pre-COVID, you hadn't actually been doing this. Was there some sort of a pivot, or just identified an opportunity and went after it? How did it come about, and how did it develop?
A couple of different things happened. Our clients are still trying to maintain their business models, and you used the word pivot. A lot of them are pivoting, and trying to come at things from a different way. Their job, their functions with us is we help them present information, usually through conferences, through events, things like that. How can they continue to get that content out there where people can use it, utilize it, be aware of it, and not have social distancing issues. So a lot of our clients have been slowly but surely moving to online sources, Zoom meetings, live streams, sometimes pre-recorded streams, and they're having varying levels of success with that. If you set up an iPhone in the corner, you can record something, and you can then push it to Facebook Live, or you can push it to YouTube or Instagram or all sorts of different places. Like you and I right now, I know what I'm using is the camera built into my MacBook, and the microphone built into my MacBook. I don't have earbuds in or anything like that. And it sounds solid. It gets the job done.
Yeah.
I have quite a few dollars in equipment downstairs that would do a better job and would be a lot more fun. But, this is getting the job done for a lot of people. They want to step that up, and they want to make it a little bit higher quality production.
Sure.
So that's what they're reaching out to us for, is how do we help them take it to the next level? And they're putting dollars on the table to try and make that happen. So
outstanding. So the last time we had chatted, it sounded like you had some sort of kind of events, and I say events loosely, but you had some sort of a happening in the studio space, trying to adhere to social distancing while at the same time, giving access to creators. That it's their space, their livelihood. How did that go, and what's happening since then? Are you still able to be doing, like, offering these services to creators and people that you're associated with?
So we've done a total of 5 live stream events from here now. 3 of them were with full bands. I'm sorry, 4 of them were with full bands, and 1 was with a DJ crew. The DJ crew actually probably did the best job of social distancing. They didn't need camera operators or anything like that. They had 1 lighting person, 1 DJ in the building at the time, and then in a completely separate room, literally 100 feet away, was the video editor who was editing on the fly to a Twitch stream.
Nice.
They did about 6 or 7 hours of live streaming.
Wow.
They went from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m.
That's a long.
And
that's a heck of a shift.
it was. And interestingly, they made money. They put out a tip jar, and they asked for donations, and they paid us a portion of what they brought in for the use of the space, which was great. It was a small amount, but every nickel and dime that we can get coming in helps cover the nut.
Everybody's looking out.
Yeah, and so they're going to continue doing that every Wednesday from the space. They've converted it to a 6 to midnight. The feedback that they got was, hey, this is great from 9 until 11. We really enjoyed watching it, but we still have day jobs, or
Right.
get us up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so they have switched now. They're going to run 6 to midnight every Wednesday for the next 3 Wednesdays, see how it goes.
Cool.
If they're still generating income at the end of those, then we'll reevaluate and, measure, monitor, and adjust from there. A live band that we've worked with 2 different live bands in here now. Not doing as good a job on the social distancing because you're putting 5 or 6 people on the stage. Plus you need a lighting operator, a camera operator, a video editor, and a sound engineer. So a little bit more to that. Excuse me. But we're keeping people as separated as we can. The people on stage have accepted their risk, in order to be standing on stage and performing together. It's pretty interesting. They're pretty itchy to play, so they don't care. They just want to make music.
Yeah.
And they're all isolated other than this, so this is their one shot, so to speak.
Right.
We'll be doing another one of those this Friday night as well.
Outstanding. With future events, last time we had talked, there was a date where it sounded like pretty much everything up until that date had been canceled, and you were trying to shift and reschedule. What's kind of going on with future gigs at this point? I mean, I know the summer, a big thing for you is big music festivals, weddings, all the things that require a lot of speakers, a lot of lights, technicians.
Yep.
What's happening with the, is there a specific all the way through the summer?
I'm still getting cancellations. I had one an hour ago. With July 4th street dance up north, northern Minnesota, was canceled earlier today. I'm not surprised that we're still getting cancellations. I keep hearing a rumor that the state fair is being canceled, and then I check on the state fair website, and I can't tell if it is or not.
So I heard the 4th of July was canceled throughout Minnesota. The celebrations and the fireworks, and which is I mean, that's as American as it gets, man.
Yes.
So they're canceling Independence Day essentially, which I don't know. What is your take on all that? What is your take on the orders that are being handed down from on high in regards to just everyday citizens, business owners? What is your take on this? Do you feel like it's the right direction to be saying we need to have everything locked down, or do you feel like maybe there should be space for people to just say, I'm going to take the risk into my own hands, I will accept the risk, but at what cost? I know, and I'm not trying to leverage this one way or the other. I believe that there's room for both sides of this argument to kind of compete against one another, but I'm just curious from your own perspective.
So from my perspective, the problem that we have is you're not taking the risk into your own hands. Every time one of us is around somebody else, we're putting that risk on other people. And that's the tough thing about COVID and this particular version of the virus, of a coronavirus, is it's really easy to contract it. You can go up to 2 weeks without showing any signs that you have it. Meanwhile, how many people have you infected? Well, not even knowing that you were infected. I mean, one of the things we're doing is we have a thermometer that we can take temperature at a distance, and we test everybody who comes in the building on those nights when we're doing things, in the 10 or under grouping. But every single time you step outside and you don't have a mask on, you're taking a risk for yourself, but you're also taking the risk that you're going to potentially give it to somebody else without even recognizing or knowing that you had the virus. So if many people are asymptomatic, we don't have any choice but to continue doing what we're doing. The lockdown just makes sense. I don't know if there will ever be a vaccine. I don't know how the world recovers from this. All I can do right now is try and be a good citizen and care for other humans in as positive a way as possible. Sure. I could literally lose my business that I've been building for almost 30 years because of this virus. we may never recover. Live music may never be the same. We may never have festivals the way we did. I hope we do, but at
You
the
really
same
believe that? You think that, I mean, up until, I mean, basically last year, 2019, as far as festivals go and big events and, just the stardom of, Coachella or South by Southwest or whatever it is, right? These massive events. You don't think, or you think there's a potential that those types of events, productions will be limited, or what is it that you don't think we'll get back to that? That people
I,
won't want to do that?
I just don't know at this point what's going to happen, and that's
Fair
the
enough.
problem. There's no way to look at this and say we know definitively what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen, and because of that, we need to take as much time as possible to prepare for it, be ready for it. We don't.
Get good
What I'm
data,
reading right now
basically.
is they're more concerned about the second wave than the first wave. What happens when wave 2 comes through?
Yeah, I was at a grocery store the other day, and I don't know about yourself, but I talking with friends, I just say this: I wear the mask not for myself, but it's for the people that are left and right of me. I don't know if they have diabetes or Crohn's disease or whatever. I don't
Yep.
know. So I do it out of empathy for the people that they would love to see that other people actually have some respect for their fellow man. That said, standing in this line that now stretches out and around the store because social distancing regulations, the stores have to adhere to a certain maximum capacity within their stores, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing it everywhere now. If I try to drive, go to a park at least a couple times a week just to get outside, get some fresh air, watch a sunset, and any store now that's open, it's almost like you can expect to see a line outside the door. It's just the most bizarre thing, whether it's Target or a grocery store or it's liquor stores. But the anomaly or the concerning aspect, and I know we're hitting that time. I don't want to hold you too long, but the concerning thing for me, I guess, is seeing that at least half of the people just aren't wearing masks. It's really bizarre how they're like making fun of people that wear masks and like calling people COVIDiots. There's a lot of like animosity, and it's just a really, really divisive time right now. So it's
Right.
it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I'm concerned about the fact that um, there's a facet of society that has put together some kind of a definition of tough guy American that means I no longer have to care for anybody but me. That's frustrating and kind of sad.
Right.
And it's not the America I grew up in, where we
It's not
helped our neighbor and we cared for our neighbor. I don't understand where that comes from.
It's not a very United States.
No, it really isn't. I mean, we help people who are down. We don't push them further down, or at least we didn't when I was a kid. So I am saddened by that personally. But I'm also the guy who's going to stand in front of anybody, anybody who is a victim and say, you need to stop. So I hope we pull our heads out of our butts collectively.
Me too. Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like people really, really want to fight about the silliest things these days.
Well, Corey, it's good to know that there are folks like you out there that are looking out for your team, that are looking out for your neighbor. And you don't have to be technically, I guess, but it's good to know that there's still folks like you out there. So thank you for that. Is there anything that we didn't touch base on that you felt was relevant or you wanted to?
Everybody stay the course. We'll get through it eventually.
Yes, sir.
That's best I can say right now.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. For all the viewers and listeners, check out the information below if you're looking to reach out and connect with Corey. I'm sure he has a plethora of information for you if you're interested in all things production. So thank you again, Corey. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Micah.
All right. Later, guys.